Howdy gamers, old gamer guy here. Normally this would be a first hour impressions video, but I've been playing the hell out of this game for the past week or so. I'm still playing Ready or Not on the hard difficulty, and that's not exactly a relaxing game, so I needed a way to unwind in between those very intense missions, and this is just what the doctor ordered. You can see we have a large world map, we have points of interest. Here is a bronze seal, which is an event that I've already completed. So yeah, this is not really a first hour impressions video. Here is a lead seal, which I have not attempted at all. But completing these seal events will increase the duration of the cycle of the storm, which is depicted as a line at the bottom of the screen. We are at the very beginning of a cycle here. You can see some map modifier events south of the Citadel, but here is a flashback to what the map looked like right after I finished the tutorial. You can see there's what appears to be a creature over there on the right side of the screen. We have some different map modifier events there south of the Citadel. But right after the tutorial ends, the cycle automatically ends, and we get our stats, we get our rewards. It looks like there are actually 8 different types of seals. But at the end of that cycle, the storm is going to smack you down, and all of your existing towns are going to be wiped out, and you have to start back over at the Citadel. So obviously, completing these seal events and increasing the cycle of the storm is a big deal. But here we are back in the present. We have some different modifiers here. I have not attempted those at all. They look like just a mission, but with special conditions and special rewards. Pressing the touchpad takes us into the Citadel menu. I have some points to spend here, so I could buy some upgrades, but here is a look at the skill tree. You can see over there on the right side that each branch of the skill tree kind of has a stat that it deals with, but then you also have other bonuses to unlock. Some of these things take multiple currencies to unlock. But to get those points, you accomplish deeds. Also completing a successful town gives you some points and some XP, but you can see it is quite a long list of different deeds. Some of them can be completed just once. Some of them have to be completed multiple times to get credit. And then also in the Citadel we can look at our game history. This is not a complete history because one of the tutorial towns has fallen off the bottom of the list there, but as you can see, I've been playing this game a lot. This is very relaxing, very engrossing, and I love a good colony building game anyway, and I think this is a really good one. So I'm going to press up here toward this other green seal. You can choose from different biomes. I think I've played on 3 or 4 different biomes. We have a couple of caravans to choose from with different creatures. I could choose 8 humans, or I could go with 5 harpies and 2 lizards. I can also change my difficulty level there. And then we can choose our embarkation bonuses. I think at the beginning of the game you could only choose 3 of these, but I've gotten some upgrades, so I can choose 5 different things. We can take some extra stuff with us into the mission. Each caravan also has its own resources, but I chose some extra stuff to take with us. And here we are in the forest. So because we're in the forest, we have some effects taking place. Some are good, some are bad. I'm not going to try to read all of that. But you can see there are also some additional effects happening down there. And by the number of empty slots, you can get an idea that there are probably a lot of different map modifiers that can pop up, which is cool. I feel like there's a lot of variety in this game. This is the most varied city builder I think I've ever played. But here we are. We have the ancient hearth. We need to constantly burn fuel. There's the main warehouse. Pressing R1 brings up the build menu, and so you can see we start off with some blueprints, but we're also missing some things. I have a farm field, but no farm, and I think I went through this entire game without having just a normal farm. But the first thing we're going to do is build a woodcutter right after we take a look around this island here. This is a dangerous glade. Over here we have a forbidden glade, so obviously those are ominous. These are the normal glades. Sometimes you have mostly normal glades. Sometimes you have mostly dangerous glades. I'm not sure what changes that. Probably the difficulty has something to do with it. But I think that's also possibly a map modifier that can happen. But here we are back in the glade. We're going to start off with a woodcutter. Just this will probably be your first building every time, but you can see that it is a wagon, so I'll be able to move this around as I need it. You can see over there on the right that we can set how the woodcutter functions. So I'm going to have this set up to avoid the glades, but otherwise it's just going to cut any trees within the radius. And then I also had to assign some workers to get them started on that project. We have some other resources here in our starting glade, including some mushrooms. So I could build a small herbalist camp over here. And then over this way we have some stones, so I could build a stone cutter. But notice that when I click on the resource, it just brings up this menu and it lets me just build the relevant structure instead of scrolling through the build menu. That's something I always forget. I remind myself at the beginning of every game, and then by the end I will have forgotten. But never mind that. Let's build a stone cutter, and we'll assign some people. Beavers are the best at working with wood, as you might imagine. The humans are good at farming, but notice in the upper right hand corner we have a blinking indicator up there. Those are your notifications. A variety of different notifications can arrive up there. You can also see the, I think those are the active effects in the upper right hand corner. But this notification was about a reputation bonus. And this will happen at the beginning of every game. Notice I can pick 3 blueprints at this point, and I have a choice of 4. So here's another thing that can give a little variety in this game, because it can sort of dictate the way you play. So depending on what biome you're in and the mix of creatures that you have working for you, you might need some buildings in some games and you won't need them in others. Like I said, I never did get a regular farm in this playthrough right here. Never mind that though. Here are the missions, the orders from the Queen, and you can see they have not unlocked yet. Those unlock over time. But the Queen's orders will give you that blinking notification in the upper right, along with your reputation bonuses and some other things, but never mind that. Here is the Ancient Hearth. This reminds me of Frostpunk because you have to constantly burn fuel. Life is tough away from the Citadel, so the people need to see the eternal flame. The hearth level can be upgraded. When the storm kicks up, you can perform sacrifices. But never mind that. Now we need to choose a cornerstone. This is another thing that's going to pop up periodically and give you some variety in your game. Another decision to make, and often these choices will have a negative effect and a positive effect to deal with, so you have to choose carefully. It looks like our first orders from the Queen are about to arrive, so I'll just let this run a little bit. I can speed up my people by pressing right on the digital pad. Left will slow them down, and there we go, the notification for our first orders from the Queen. I'm not going to try to read all of these, but basically you need to assess each objective, and ideally you're going to pick the one that you can do most easily. Also, you can look at the rewards. Most of them, I think, will have the Queen's Grace as a reward at the bottom. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, you can see I'm making some more choices here. I'm choosing to break into some glades and collect some rainwater, some pretty easy stuff. It looks like this last one is a little bit more complex. It has to do with trading and selling certain commodities. But now I have 3 missions, 3 orders, and they are over there on the right side of the screen. So yeah, now let's move our tree cutter wagon, and let's go ahead and cut our way into this glade. Unfortunately, I don't have any spare beavers to put to work in the woodcutter camp, so I'll have to keep an eye out, and when we add some beavers to our little settlement here, I can swap them into the woodcutter job. But in the meantime, let's build an herbalist and collect these mushrooms. Let's put a couple of these humans to work doing that. But as you can see on the right there, I have to break into 2 glades as part of the Queen's order. So now that I have marked those trees, my little people will concentrate on those trees, and there we go. We have broken into the glade. We've got some resources, but also some sort of a broken down piece of equipment. So we have a couple of different requirements. You see those have a circle around them with an arrow. That means that there are alternatives. You can click on which alternative you would like to use, and then we can either disassemble this or we can fix it, and we get different rewards for each one. Unfortunately, neither option will give me some new villagers, so I still don't have a whole lot of idle people standing around waiting to do something. But we're going to get to work on that. I am going to disassemble this, but never mind that. We have a blinking notification, and we are about to complete an order for the Queen. Lost in the Woods is complete. We can deliver that order, and now at the bottom of the screen, that red line is the Queen's patience level. It is constantly building to the right, so if you can find an order or anything, you can find these things in the glades as well that will lower the Queen's impatience level. So that's generally a good thing to do, but of course, as with everything else in the game, you sort of have to assess where you are at that particular time. There might be a particular resource that you really, really need, and the other option might give that resource as a reward, and so you can't always make the Queen happy, but you want to do it as often as you can, because if that line builds up to the right, all the way to the right, then that is game over, and you're called back to the Citadel until the end of the cycle, and so the storm will wipe everything out. And speaking of the storm has kicked up. It's time to sacrifice some of our wood. Luckily, we have plenty of wood in storage here, and so I'm teeing up some wood sacrifice, and I told it to automatically stop after the storm is over. And so I'll just let this run a little bit to show you how long these storms will last. And I think am I at normal speed here, or am I sped up here? It's hard to tell. I think I'm just in normal speed here, but the storm goes on for a couple of minutes, I think. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, our people do not like the storm. Those numbers are not the population. That's sort of their general contentment level for each race. And so the lizards are generally not as happy as the beavers, and the beavers are not as happy as the humans. But never mind that. Let's be happy. It's time for a reputation bonus, so we get to choose another building. And as you can see, we have more rewards counting down. I'm about to start skipping forward in the game quite a bit because, like I said, this colony here took me a little over an hour, and obviously this video is 25 minutes long. I think this gameplay is about 20 minutes long. So I gotta cut some things out here and there, But here I am putting down a comfort decoration because that will help me to level up my hearth. And yeah, over time our people will generally get a little happier. I'll build some buildings to make the lizards happy. Maybe something that is serving up some meat. They like jerky, they like skewers. So yeah, I just need to feed them some meat and they'll calm down a little bit, I think. We are also building some basic housing there. That symbol means that site is waiting on a particular resource. So in this case, just some of the logs from the warehouse. Here we are getting another cornerstone. All of these look pretty good, actually. I swear I've seen some that have negative effects, but all of those look pretty good. But never mind that. We're getting some more orders from the Queen. I think I'm choosing to increase our lizard population here. So I would like to find some beavers, but now I have an order to find some lizards. But this next order has a group of beavers as a reward. So I'm going to choose to do that. And so now we have 2 more orders in progress. Hopefully we're making progress on the first ones we picked up. And there we go. We have now completed garden life. I'm sure you can tell I'm skipping forward quite frequently now. I'm not showing you every building that I'm throwing down, but you will see some more views of our settlement later. But never mind that. We had a reputation bonus choice, and here's a cornerstone choice. And the more I look at these as I'm editing this video, the more positive they seem. So maybe I'm going crazy, but I would swear I saw some that had negative aspects to them. But never mind that. We just completed the very first order that we ever received from the Queen. So we are celebrating by cutting our way toward a dangerous glade. Here is another reputation bonus. But I talked about the people being content. You can bring up this little chart where you can see what they want and if their needs are being filled. And as you can see, the lizards are still the grumpiest ones of the bunch, although they are happier than they were earlier, so that's good. But here I am looking in the build menu because I know there's something in here that will cheer up the lizards, and that is the cookhouse, because they like skewers, they like biscuits. No, the beavers actually like biscuits. So we can cheer up both of them at the same time. But never mind that. We have just cut our way into a dangerous glade. So there are actually a couple of different events in here, but there's only one that has a threat. And this one basically has an automatic sacrifice take place. So it will destroy all the trade goods in your warehouse in a certain amount of time. You can see the timer counting down. So I could either excavate this, or we could praise the sun, which I would think means that we actually make use of this altar. But we have 11.5 minutes to take care of this. Choosing to excavate would reward me with the Queen's grace, so I could lower her impatience, but she's not really impatient with me at the moment, so I'm looking at those rewards for praising the sun. And by the way, I appreciate that Dark Souls reference. I'm a big fan of those games. We have a couple of just normal events in this glade, along with the dangerous event. Here is another dangerous glade, and it looks like there is one normal event in this glade. But those normal events will just sit there. They'll wait there until you're ready to do them. But these dangerous events will all have some kind of a timer. This is another malfunctioning piece of equipment that is contaminating the soil. I chose to burn this one down. But we are approaching the successful completion of this colony. Hopefully this video has not been so edited that you can't tell what's going on. But there we are, completing another order. The Queen is relatively happy with us. That malfunctioning piece of equipment is about to disappear. taking it off the board. We have some, still we have some orders over there on the side of the screen that we could do. But here is another reputation bonus choice. I never did get a normal farm, but there you could see we had 12 orders that we could potentially do in total. Here's another event in a glade that I'm choosing to do, and here's another event just sitting here. And there are other things we could do, but we have a blinking notification, so let's check that out. And we are about to complete our 10th order. So all you have to do is complete 10 of the 12, and that is good enough to complete the settlement. I did not accomplish any deeds, but we did get some kind of a reward. And look at the line there representing the cycle of the storm. You can see where this town is on that line, so you can get an idea of how long the cycle is. But like I said, completing those seal events will increase the duration of the cycle. So you can get more time for yourself before the storm shows up. I didn't accomplish any deeds, but I did get a few extra points. So I'm going to buy an upgrade. I think I increased our production speed. So now in my next town, I will have just a little bit faster production all around. We have some different biomes to choose from. I'm going to go with the marshlands here. And I'll just show you the very beginning of that round just to show you what that looks like. We could go in with just some foxes, or we could go in with some foxes and some lizards. I'm just going to go with the foxes. And I think I chose the same embarkation bonuses I chose at the beginning. So let's go into this next town. I'll show you the very beginning of this, but I really like this game. This is one of the more relaxing city builders I've ever played, and one of the more varied. I think from game to game there's at least a little bit of variation, more so than you normally get in a game like this, and I really appreciate that. So this game is really helping me to relax in between rounds of Ready or Not. But here we go. We're getting started on this new colony. Time is passing, and yeah, I really like this. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully it made some sense. I don't know what's next on the channel. Could be more of this, could be more Ready or Not, could be something completely different. But for now, thanks for watching.